Yo, what's going on everyone? In today's video I'm going to be ranking all 37 evolutions. I won't be ranking Evo Ghost yet because it hasn't technically come out, but I will be ranking Evolution Skeleton Army because that's the most recent evolution. Alright, let's get started. I already have last place up on the screen here. It's going to be the Evolution Bomber at number 37. It's the worst card in F tier. It's been terrible for a really long time, ever since it's got nerfed, so that's where it's going to be. I think it's the worst evolution in the game. Slightly better, but still really bad, just like the Evolution Bomber, is the Evolution Drill. It's going to be at number 36. Just barely beats out the Bomber, but it's still terrible. No one uses the Evolution Drill. It needs some kind of buff or rework. It's just terrible. Alright, these are the only two evolutions I have in F tier. These are the only two evolutions that are pretty much unusable in the game right now. There's no reason you should be using either of these evolutions at all. I think what's definitely interesting about this season is because of all the nerfs, it's definitely made the game a lot more balanced, and it's made the evolutions a lot more balanced compared to previous seasons. And we also don't have a crazy broken evolution. I think the Evolution Skeleton Army is really good, but it's not broken like the Evo Furnace was, Evo Witch was, Evo Baby Dragon was. It's definitely a lot more balanced compared to all the other ones. So this season, the evolution, if you look at the tier list at the end, it's gonna look more like a normal distribution. Alright, next up is the Evolution Barbs. The reason they make it into D tier is they are used in Lava Hound. That's pretty much the only thing I really ever see them in. Maybe some Elixir Pump 3 Musketeer decks, but you never really see that deck. So, for that reason, it definitely has maybe one or two niche uses, but other than that, it's still a really bad evolution. At number 34 is the Evolution Lumberjack. This card's just way too easy to distract. It rarely ever gets on the tower, so it's never really that good. You can probably find a niche use for it, but there's just so many better evolutions. Now at evolution number 33 is the Evolution Goblin Giant, and this card was nerfed to the ground. It's been so strong for the last couple of seasons and used in a lot of different decks, and they gave it 3 really huge nerfs, pretty much dropping this card from a really good evolution to one of the worst in the game. I think the only viable Evolution Goblin Giant deck in the game is really Sparky Gob Giant. I haven't really seen any P.E.K.K.A. Gob Giant anymore, or just any other kind of Goblin Giant decks. It's just not as good as it was. Thankfully, it was a really difficult card to deal with the last couple of seasons. The last card I have in D tier is going to be the Evolution Wizard, and I feel like every single season this card just works its way up by one spot in the tier list. It's just really only used in a couple of niche decks. You see it in CRL just a little bit, just because it is that dual format. You see it in a couple Royal Giant decks, you see it in a couple Hog Cycle decks. It's not a great evolution, but it's definitely better than it used to be, and you can definitely get a little bit of value out of it, so it's not the worst evolution in the game. So this is going to complete our D tier. Nothing really to say about it too much. They're just pretty niche evolutions. You can find a couple of situations where they're good, but other than that, they're not really that great. Let's move on to C tier. Starting off C tier, I have the Evolution Skeletons, and this card just barely squeaked by the D tier like it has been the last couple of seasons. I think it's just good enough to make the C tier. I've been seeing it a little bit more. It's good in 2.9 Balloon Miner, and also 2.6 Hog, which has been used a lot more, so for that reason, I'm barely playing it in the C tier. It's a solid evolution. Alright, now we gotta talk about the Evolution Bats, because this is a really good evolution. The only problem is the minions exist, and the minions are just so much better than the bats right now. And I believe this is the 3rd season in a row they've gotten nerfed, and they're still just so much better than the bats. They make the bats obsolete, so for that reason, the bats, they kind of get affected the most by this, and they kind of have to drop all the way down, even though they're still a really good evolution, and in a different meta, they would be a lot better. Alright, now the Evolution Firecracker. Now, the Firecracker got a nerf about 2 seasons ago. It just made the knockback a little bit less, so it died just a little bit quicker. I think the Evolution Firecracker, it's pretty much only used in Hog EQ. That's what I use. That's what I use to get to Ultimate Champion this season. I think it's still a solid evolution. You can make it work only in those niche decks, but it's not really that strong anymore like it used to be. You've been seeing a lot of Hog Furnace, a lot of different other Hog decks, so it's definitely a pretty low tier evolution compared to a lot of the evolutions in the game right now. Now at 28, I actually have the Electro Dragon, and I think the Electro Dragon's been pretty bad the last couple of seasons. I think it was actually solid last season because it was such a beatdown meta. But the reason I have it decently high this season is I've been seeing it a lot more in Elixir Golem, and I mean just any type of beatdown really, and it's been working pretty well, I feel like. So be on the lookout for some more Elixir Golem this season. I think it's definitely a lot stronger than it has been the last couple of seasons. So for that reason, I think they just synergize so well. I think it deserves number 28. At number 27, I have the Evolution Goblin Cage. And this is an interesting one because it did lose its bonus health in the most recent balance patch, but I don't think that's really affecting it too much because it still serves its main focus of pulling troops in and really taking care of beatdown or hog rider or anything like that. So I don't think it affects it too much. It was already a pretty average evolution. I think it just makes it more average now. At 26, I have the Evolution Ice Spirit. I don't have much to say about it. I think there's just stronger evolutions that you can use in cycle decks because that's mostly what you would see Evolution Ice Spirit in. I think ever since it got that nerf a couple seasons ago, nerfing the damage and also nerfing the amount of freezes. It's just a pretty average evolution. At number 25, I have Evolution Mega Knight. I think if you know what you're doing, Mega Knight's not too difficult to deal with. I think we are definitely in a bridge spam meta, so I think Mega Knight's a solid evolution, but I think it's more of the support cards that make it good. So for that reason, I think it's pretty much as average as it gets at number 25. Next up, I have Evolution P.E.K.K.A, and I really, it was really tough for me to decide which one should be higher, Evolution Mega Knight or Evolution P.E.K.K.A. I decided Evolution P.E.K.K.A should be a bit higher because I think it's better. It has a better bridge spam potential this season because I think a lot of times you see Mega Knight with Ram Rider and you see P.E.K.K.A with Battle Ram, and I think Battle Ram's so much better than Ram Rider this season. So for that reason, I think Evolution P.E.K.K.A is just a lot better. The last card I have to round out our C tier is Evolution Hunter. It's pretty it's just such an average evolution. There's a lot more Royal Giant this season, so I think that makes it a bit better because they synergize so well, but there's no other deck you see Hunter in. Alright, so our C tier right now, bunch of solid cards. You can definitely get use out of them. There's still better evolutions, but this is pretty much the average out of all the evolutions. Nothing wrong with any of these evolutions. Starting off the B tier, I have Evolution Dart Goblin, and this is still a really good evolution if you play him right. He did get a couple of nerfs to like his poison duration and stuff like that. That just makes him a little bit weaker, but if you're good with log bait, Evo Dart Goblin is still an amazing evolution to use. Next up at 21 is the Evolution Musketeer, and I say this every season pretty much, but this is one of the highest skill ceiling evolutions in the game. It's just really hard to use, but there's a lot of 2.6 Hog this season, and there's also a lot of 2.9 Balloon Miner this season. So I think the Evolution Musketeer is making a bit of a comeback, and it's being seen, I think, a lot more this season than it has been the previous couple of seasons. Starting off our top 20, I have Evolution Battle Ram. And I think there's a lot of bridge spam this season. It's good in P.E.K.K.A bridge spam. It's good with just a lot of different types of decks. So I think it's definitely a really solid evolution. It's really good. It's not too difficult to use. So I think it pretty much deserves to go right at number 20. It's not too good. It's not too bad. Right in the sweet spot. At number 19, I have the Evolution Zap. And this is kind of a tricky one. Last season, it kind of got overshadowed by Vines, and not as many people were using Evolution Zap, and then now the Vines have gotten nerfed, and I think you see the Evolution Zap a lot more. So it's a really good evolution. I don't know if it's really an Evolution Zap meta. I see a lot more arrows. I still see some Vines. and there's just so many different small spells that are pretty strong power-wise, so it's pretty tough to rank the evolutions at. Next up at 18, I have the Evolution Royal Giant. I've been seeing a lot more Royal Giant decks this season. It's still just a really solid evolution. No one pretty much runs the regular Royal Giant. Everyone who uses Royal Giant is going to be using the evolution, because the evolution is just really strong. Being able to push back melee units is just such a strong evolution concept, so it makes it just one of the most powerful evolutions in the game. Next up at number 17 is the Evolution Furnace. It's gotten nerfed the last couple of seasons. It was definitely the most powerful evolution about 2 seasons ago when it released, and then it got the emergency nerfed, and then they nerfed it again, and last season they nerfed it again. It wasn't a huge nerf, it just increased the speed, which doesn't sound like a nerf, but basically what it does is it gives less time for the furnace to spawn fire spirits on your side. So I think instead of spawning 3 fire spirits before they would cross the bridge, now it spawns 2. So it definitely makes an impact on it. I think it moves the furnace a lot lower on the list. It's still a really solid evolution, but it's definitely not one of the best like the S or A tier anymore. Alright, now we're one spot outside the top 15 at number 16 with the Evolution Mortar. I think Evolution Mortar is really strong. Pretty much everyone who's using the evolution, or who's using Mortar, is going to be using the evolution. Barely anyone's just playing regular Mortar by itself. So I think that goes to show just how strong it is. I think there's so many viable Mortar decks right now. So for that reason, I think it deserves to be one of the highest on the list right now. Alright, we are into the top 15 now. If you watched it this far, thank you so much for watching. Last season, Evolution Baby Dragon was the best evolution in the game, and they changed the cycle from a 1 cycle evolution to a 2 cycle evolution. So that definitely had a big impact. Evolution Baby Dragon is still really powerful when you do actually cycle to the evolution, but you're going to see it a lot less frequently because they did change how many cycles it takes. But it's still really strong. I could definitely see a case for it still being a lot higher up, but for right now I'm going to put it at the top of B tier. We currently only have 14 evolutions left to rank. I want you guys to comment down below your top 5 evolutions and come back and see how it matches up with mine at the end of the video. Alright, starting off our A tier is going to be the Evolution Goblin Barrel. Logbait's been a pretty rough spot the last couple of seasons, but I think this season it's going to have a major comeback. And it's going to be just really solid. I think the Evolution Goblin Barrel is really so powerful. I mean, it always gives you a positive trade. It's pretty hard to get an even elixir trade when you're defending it. It's just so much pressure, especially if your opponent plays it right and really puts on the dual lane pressure. It's super strong. For that reason, I think it definitely deserves to be this high up. Alright, next up is the Evolution Archers at spot number 13. This is always a strong evolution. They kind of only fit in a couple of different types of decks, so you might not always see them a whole lot. They're most synonymous with probably Expo, and I think Expo is a lot better this season compared to the last couple of seasons, just because it's not as beatdown heavy. So I think you might be seeing a lot more Evolution Archers this season. At number 12 is the Evolution Tesla, and the Evolution Tesla is so strong defensively, but it feels like no matter how strong the Evolution Tesla is, it kind of always gets overshadowed by the Evolution Cannon. I think the Evolution Cannon, no matter how many nerfs it gets, is just so much more powerful than the Evolution Tesla. So I think Evolution Tesla's kind of stuck in this spot where it's always pretty much the second best evolution building in the game, but it's still such a great evolution. It's going to be really good this season. At number 11, I have the Evolution Knight. In the last couple of seasons, I've ranked the Evolution Knight higher than the Evolution Valkyrie, but I think this season, the Evolution Valkyrie is just going to be a little bit better than the Evolution Knight. Pretty much no other reason other than just the current meta we're in. Evolution Knight didn't get any nerfs. If anything, Evolution Valk actually got nerfed because it lost her bonus health. But I think the Evolution Valk is just so much stronger defensively, and I don't think you'll see the Evolution Knight as much this season. At number 10 is going to be the Evolution Skeleton Barrel, and this evolution has been really powerful for the last couple of seasons. If your opponent doesn't really have any good counters to it, It just gets so much value, and it pairs so well with the evolution wall breakers, which I haven't ranked yet because they're going to be really high on this list, so look forward to that. But they're just so good at forcing your opponent to play their building, and then you can play your wall breakers. So evolution skeleton barrel, it's been really strong for a while now. I think it definitely deserves to be in the top 10. At number 9, I have the evolution skeleton army, and it's definitely a really powerful evolution, don't get me wrong, but it's nice that for the first time in a couple of months, the newest evolution hasn't been the most powerful. When you think back to last season, evolution baby dragon was the best evolution, and then evolution furnace was the best, and then evolution witch was the best. It's just every single season, it just feels like when they release a new evolution, it's just a money grab that they want people to spend all their money on, and then they nerf it, not to the ground, but they just nerf it so it's not like the best evolution in the game. So the evolution skeleton army is a nice breath of fresh air, because it's definitely strong, but it's not just too overbearing to the point where you have to have it in order to win. At number 8, I have the evolution Valkyrie, and I think if I could go back to my last season ranking, I would definitely move the evolution Valkyrie a lot higher up. I guess I feel like she only came like super meta heavy later in the season. I think this season she's also going to be really strong. That's why I ranked her above the evolution Knight, which is kind of her biggest competition. But even though she did lose her bonus health, I still feel like she's like probably the strongest defensive evolution in the game. Maybe top 3 strongest defensive evolutions in the game. There's just not many cards that can do what she does, and she's just so effective in a lot of different scenarios. It's pretty hard to put her any lower than number 8. At number 7, the evolution cannon is definitely the best evolution building in the game. It has been ever since pretty much it released. It's gotten a couple different nerfs. Most recently it got a 9% damage nerf to the airstrikes, but it's still just as effective as it was. I haven't really noticed it too much. I play a lot of Hog EQ, so I do use cannon a lot, and I haven't really seen too many interaction differences, so I think evolution cannon's just as good as it was last season. At number 6 is going to be the evolution witch, and I don't even know what to really say about this card. They've just changed it, reworked it, and nerfed it so many times, and it's just still super strong. So they gave it a pretty huge nerf to the heal per skeleton. I think it's only 60 now. I think it was about a 16% nerf, and it still feels pretty much the same. It's definitely a little bit worse than it was, but it's still really strong. You can use it in a lot of different graveyard decks. You can use it in a lot of beatdown decks. It's still always going to be one of the strongest evolutions in the game. At number 5, I have the evolution royal recruits, and pretty much when you look at the balance changes, so many splash damage cards got nerfed. When you look at the evolution, or just the bomber, the witch, the furnace, the baby dragon, all these splash damage cards got nerfed, and I think that indirectly buffs the royal recruits. And I've been seeing so much more royal recruits and recruit spam decks. So for that reason, I think it definitely deserves the top 5. It's definitely going to be one of the most prominent meta decks this season, so be on the lookout for that. At number 4 is the evolution snowball. The snowball got a small nerf because all slowdown units got nerfed from 0.35% slowdown to 0.30. So I've definitely noticed some difference with the regular snowball and the evolution snowball. But still, for the purpose that the evolution snowball serves, and mostly drill decks, and being able to push units back and really get your either drill or sometimes even expo decks, get them onto the tower easier, I think it still does its job just as good as it did before the nerf. So I think it's one of the strongest evolutions right now. Snowball drill, even though drill got nerfed, snowball drill is pretty much guaranteed damage every single time. So for that reason, it's going to be at number 4. At number 3, I have the evolution executioner, and I think I have this higher than a lot of people would, but this card's always so crazy to me. It really does feel like the best defensive evolution in the game. I feel like it gets value no matter what, and the regular executioner is just really terrible compared to the evolution executioner, But the Evolution Executioner, I feel like paired with Tornado, it always finds a way to just like line up with the tower and get so much damage. It's so unforgiving. So for that reason, I think it should be top 3. Let me know if you guys disagree though. At number 2, our second place evolution is going to be the Evolution Inferno Dragon. And I think this evolution is so strong. It can be used in so many different decks, beatdown, graveyard, balloon decks. I think the ability to carry its charge over from troop to troop is just so strong, and sometimes it feels like there's pretty much no good way to defend it. It is a 2-cycle evolution, thankfully, but it does feel like once your opponent does get that Evolution Inferno Dragon on the board, they can build up such a massive push that's so hard to defend. And I think it's one of the best evolutions in the game. And I think a lot of people know it's one of the best, but I still think it's underrated. At the number 1 spot for this season is going to be the Evolution Wall Breakers, and it's definitely nice that the most recent evolution to release isn't at the number 1 spot this season like it has been the last couple of seasons. The Evolution Wall Breakers are just super strong. I think they may get made even stronger in the meta with how much minor poison's going around. I think Evolution Wall Breakers been one of the strongest evolutions for the last couple of seasons, and I think because of all the nerfs and all the changes to a lot of the other evolutions, they finally get to take the number 1 spot as the most powerful evolution this season. Alright, that's going to do it for my evolution ranking. Let me know down below where you guys think the Evolution Royal Ghost is going to fit into this list, because that will be coming out, I believe, near the end of October. So it definitely looks really powerful in a couple of the teaser clips and the gameplay clips we've gotten. I think it can definitely be an A or even an S tier. We'll just have to see. So let me know what you guys agree with, disagree with, and if you watch this far, please leave a like and subscribe. It means a lot. Thank you.